Welcome back to the Speculative Podcast. I'm Joe here with James. This is going to be part one of a three-part series in which we're discussing the short stories that take place just before, well, not just before, but varying time periods before Leviathan wakes. Um, we started off with the first story, Drive, which James, not a fan of.
No.
Just because of the way it ends, or there's romance.
It's irrelevant. I don't care.
I mean, it's not entirely irrelevant. The entire.
Oh, a guy from Mars invented the engine that lets him explore the rest of the solar system. Cool. I needed exactly that to let me know that. I didn't need a whole story about a guy who's so curious about the conflicts between Mars, and his primary motivation for inventing the engine is his girlfriend is so afraid that Mars is going to be invaded because everyone wants their ore deposits. Fuck. I don't care. I didn't care whatsoever. Nothing about that story made me care about the events happening in it.
Well, I mean, it was pretty interesting to see the earlier history of what happens in the Expanse. So
We already knew Mars and Earth were at odds with each other over various resource reasons.
I guess, and you didn't like seeing that fleshed out.
I just didn't care. I didn't. As I'm reading that, I'm waiting for something that's relevant to the series in some way, and the relevance is here's the ship engine they use. I don't fucking care.
You don't like how it was a yacht?
No, what does that matter?
I don't know.
Yachts are always bad for the bad guys, so
But yeah, so
it should be a very bad short story, and it means he's a bad guy. Only bad guys die on space yachts. Star Wars established.
well, I mean, it's usually not a second-hand space yacht that they bought.
Well, that just tells you the first crew died.
But yeah, so basically it starts off, I think it's like a framed narrative, so they're basically cutting back and forth to between his
every
imminent
so often
death.
It breaks to him like, oh no, let me just remember another moment of nonsense that doesn't matter.
Well, they didn't fully get into it, but yeah, he was pretty much crushed to death. Which I thought was interesting, because so
Crushed?
the
Well, yeah, crushed.
well, yeah, I mean,
the G's wouldn't do, man.
the spaceship measures G's, but it wasn't something that he was expecting.
Based off the other excerpts, oh look, the first time I'll try and be more efficient, and I really wasn't. I was less efficient. Second time I'll try and be more efficient, and I am more efficient. I'm expecting that, yeah, somewhere in there his math was off, and he didn't expect to get the efficiency he got out of it, so he wasn't expecting to go as fast as he was, or something of that sort.
Yeah. I mean, it was a nice little look into earlier history, but yeah, you're right.
It didn't matter.
They
Whoop-de-doo.
too much character development for somebody who we'll
And
probably never see again.
if those were his fondest moments of his life with his wife, what a bunch of boring fucking people.
To each his own.
If his life was a little more exciting, maybe he wouldn't have been a space jockey into oblivion. Yeah, just nothing about that story made me care about what was going on. So maybe if I had read that story in some other context where I didn't know that it was tied to the Expanse main story somehow, it wouldn't have been as annoying to me. But knowing that in reality all I'm really getting is the history of the engine development for spaceships in the Expanse. Fuck off. Just give me the cliff notes. Give me a blurb on Expansopedia or something like that. Let one of the Expanse spaceships just, oh, this guy invented the engine, which, I mean, they kind of already did, I think, in the first book in the early pieces of it.
Well,
I didn't care.
To be fair, I mean, there is in the Memories Legion, which compiles all these, They do have an author's note afterwards saying that none of these are necessary, and we're reading them of our own free will. So
Yeah, but
us complaining about it is kind of superfluous, really. But
the other two were at least pertinent in that they deal with characters that I will then meet and will matter. And it doesn't even have to be characters that I will meet with and matter. This was a whole pile of attempted emotion around spaceship engines.
yeah. And let's see. Yeah, basically it just goes through. I mean, it was like I said, the main interest that I like, the main enjoyment that I got out of it was just seeing like the earlier history of the Expanse. So sort of like the midway point between what you and I are experiencing now, and getting to Leviathan Wakes. So like seeing the development as you would say. So
Sure. And if that's a goal, fine. But can it be on subject matter I care more about?
I mean, there's plenty more short stories left in this book, so we'll see.
Sure.
Because I think the authors did say that they didn't plan to write any of these. They just wrote them as they were inspired.
Whatever inspired them for this one, we need to go back and unlive.
Well, what's funny is that there is a note in the book that says of all the short fiction in the Expanse universe, this is probably the one that was read the most and they were paid the least for. So, but yeah, no, I think it's just they basically played him out to be like the prophet that leads people to the Holy Land, as they said it. So he's, I mean, his name's going to be mentioned throughout the series, Epstein. So, but yeah, I guess
the name of the engine, sure, but again,
and he was never there to know that it actually worked.
well, he knows that it works because it's what kills him, but he's never there to know that it actually got out.
Yeah. So I think it was his.
I'd be intrigued to find out if in the Expanse story down the line in the books that we haven't covered yet, his wife or his family come into play, and the money potentially from selling this tech make them characters down the line from a corporate perspective or a power perspective of some sort. Then I would care more, but I need that to happen first before this story means jack shit to me. Like without it, it doesn't matter.
So what? So yeah. So basically, yeah. The story is 3 generations into Mars being colonized. So yeah, that was like I said. That was the novelty of it. Was the earlier experience.
Well, then give me the colonization.
He didn't like
of
him
Mars.
being too shy to talk to his wife and the meet cute, as they call it.
No, I didn't care.
Neither did I. But I did like. I did enjoy the. I think the main enjoyment I got out of this story was, just the imminent attack of Earth against Mars, and just, their initial reactions of wanting. Basically, you're just seeing the birth of Mars becoming an independent nation, or at least
You're just
not
saying
the birth.
that Earth is a bully.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm alive on Earth right now. You're right. People in power on Earth are bullies. Thanks for the short story of nothingness to remind me of something that I'm currently actually actively witnessing every day.
I mean, social commentary is commonplace with most stories.
Sure.
And this is a
But
recent
can I get
short
some
story.
relevance? Like you could tie it in other ways. Show me the colonization of Mars. I'll care more. Show me.
Well, apparently, like I said, mentioned before, that's what The Martian, written by the guy's name that I can't think of.
That's actually supposed to be an Expanse story?
Well, like I said, like I mentioned before, the authors playfully just decided that their books take place in the same universe. So yes,
Now I'll have to go watch it. Am I in for?
The Martian.
Yeah.
The Martian is good.
Okay. I haven't. I did care.
Apparently, yeah, the main character in The Martian,
Matt Damon.
yeah, Mark Watney is the main character.
Okay.
And apparently I haven't seen it yet. I got this mild, I don't even know if it's a spoiler because it's probably not integral to the plot, but apparently something down the line in Expanse is named after him.
Okay.
Hinting that it's a mutual agreement between the authors to be a shared universe.
Okay.
So, if you
That's
want
fine.
an even more of a prequel than Drive, apparently,
That would
The
be
Martian.
relevant and interesting to me. That series of events, or even taking the Epstein engine and like the building of the asteroids, like the building, the first landing, and the building of series. That would be interesting. I care more about that. That guy's life as he decides to test and retest and retest and retest and retest the fucking engine for more and more efficiency until it shoots him out into space at a speed that his body can't handle. I don't care. It just didn't mean anything to me. Nothing about the story was relevant to. I don't know. I'm being
Yeah.
harsh. Probably super harsh. People, obviously, somebody cared enough that they put it into a second form of print when they put the other books together. But
yeah, I mean, it's.
yeah.
I didn't hate it. I felt. I just wondered what the point was in investing my time into this character that
Yeah.
we will likely only ever see in this story. So, like I said, I attended for the world building that around him versus.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, he's basically. There's not much to it, so we'll probably end it here. But yeah, essentially, he dies a death that I'm not.
Essentially.
Well, not. He dies a death that I wouldn't want to have. Although apparently it was peaceful, as they were describing it towards the end. I don't know how being crushed to death. I mean, they even described it at the end. They're like, Solomon relaxes, and the expanse folds itself around him like a lover. Ends with him closing his eyes, wishing that he could be there to see all this happen because he knows that it's going to change the course of mankind, at least with the solar system. But any final thoughts that you want to go through on it?
It's garbage. It didn't matter.
All right. Garbage is not as fair, but yeah, I get your point.
I have a lot of other stuff that I want to read, including Caliban's War. So this, waste of time.
Waste of time. So not recommended by James.
No, and again, so I will caveat that. If in some way descendants of though was she pregnant?
I did not store that to memory.
I don't remember that being mentioned at all. I don't think they wanted children. So I don't even think descendants of this character can be in the future. At most, it'll be corporations that make the engines or something, which were already kind of a deal because that's the whole deal with Protogen ships were definitely on Earth because those are the factories that make the engines. So, like, I can't even think of a way in which these characters could be relevant in other books. Doesn't mean it's not possible. But if somehow this ties into the later books with some relevancy somehow, I will change my opinion.
Well, I mean, the Epstein drive is relevant. I'm going to keep pointing that out. So, but
Sure. In the same way that steel and bolts and everything else are relevant, in the same way that the ice from Ganymede behind the Canterbury was relevant. They have the same level of relevance.
all right, fine. But
Do I
so
want a short story all about the ice of Ganymede? No, I don't. Do I want to hear about the ice of Ganymede's secret ex-girlfriend that they super... No, I don't. I don't care.
it wasn't adorable.
No.
Well, here's a question for you that I would ask. Would you, starting off the Expanse series, would you recommend beginning with this story or doing what we did, at least reading Leviathan Wakes first? Is this a good starting point, or do you think it would turn people off?
No. I guess that'd be the only context in which it could be read where it wouldn't piss me off.
Is if you read it as first?
Yeah. And then recognize after the fact, oh, this is standalone.
All right. Well, I guess we'll end it there. Join us next time, and we'll be discussing The Butcher of Anderson Station, Fred Johnson's story.